Out of all social media, I've come to the conclusion that Pinterest is probably the most mentally healthy, especially for me. And so I want to preface this obviously by saying that this is an opinion piece. I don't have any absolutely zero studies to basically talk about if I'm right or wrong. But in essence, this is a conclusion that I've come to. So, hello, children of the earth. My name is Alessandra. I'm not showing my face because I recently got wisdom tooth surgery and I'm on my third day and I'm bored out of my mind and I don't know what to do. And I decided, you know what? 2024 is the year of me doing what I want and not being afraid. That was a little loud, sorry. Not being afraid of just talking and just wanting to see if anyone's going to listen. So the good thing is that I can finally talk again, and so I want to talk about this. So in essence, why do I think that Pinterest is a much better social media platform? Well, let's dive into what the hell is Pinterest. So, based off of Pinterest's own website, they're saying Pinterest is a visual discovery engine for finding ideas like recipes, home and style inspiration, and more. With billions of pins on Pinterest, you'll always find ideas to spark your inspiration. I have started using Pinterest. I would say I don't know exactly, and I'm going to check and verify this, but I guessing I started using it in maybe 2014, 2013. And I noticed that out of all social media over time, so it's 2024 now, over time, that is the most socially and mentally healthy I have noticed. And it might be because that there's not really a lot of monetization. Like, of course, it's happening, but it's not really thrown as much in your face as, for example, TikTok or on Instagram. It feels like when you go on the explore page, you're just seeing a bunch of like really pretty photos. You're seeing ideas, you're seeing quotes, I see a lot of poetry. I don't know about you, but it depends on obviously your feed. But my feed seems to be very wholesome and a big thing that I noticed is it's kind of getting away from that concept of girl blogging that I see all the freaking time on TikTok. And it's almost been, I mean, this is a totally separate issue, but it's been blown up out of proportion because on TikTok it's almost celebrated. So I don't want to talk too much about this because this isn't what this really is about, but I just wanted to say a quick thing about girl blogging. So what is girl blogging? So if you're chronically online, you already are like a million light years ahead of me. But based on Urban Dictionary, the definition of girl blogger is someone who's hot, intelligent, and probably mentally ill. A girl blogger is someone chronically online, saving soft, luxurious, coquette posts on Pinterest while listening to Lana Del Rey and cigarettes after sex. She's a bookworm and probably obsessed with 90s Kate Moss and Lily Rose Depp. As an example, they have here, I look like such a girl blogger with my pink sweater, wired headphones, and Chanel sunglasses. Sorry. I'm laughing because this absolutely makes no sense. But if you understand this concept and if you are a woman and you have very girl blogger inspired posts all over your feed, it's quite concerning what it's talking about. Like um a big trope I've seen is talking about this sort of dark feminism, trying to make yourself feel like mysterious, things like that, like destroy men. Um, some other things I can't think of at the moment, but basically just talking about mentally unwell things. And so that is one thing that I have seen on Instagram, TikTok, other social media that isn't as prevalent on Pinterest. Like, of course, on Pinterest, you're going to see some quotes, things like that, but it's a lot more limited and it's just a different dynamic. So I did actually notice when I went back and went through some editing and I looked back at my Pinterest. I don't know if you saw, but there were some sort of quotes that were borderline girl blogger quotes, sort of like making fun of mental illness, things like that. And I'm not sure if that's just the universe trying to prove me wrong or um, just a random surge on my explore page. We could be seeing a shift, especially now it's the new year. Maybe some people are going through some stuff. I did also want to say I was thinking about this that in essence, I mean, There's nothing wrong with sort of sometimes making fun of yourself or making fun of issues you have. I feel like, humor is quite healing. The problem is when it starts becoming your personality. So when you start over liking things, when you start using them in the present tense in the sense that it's in your speech and you're constantly thinking about it, constantly liking things, I think that's when it becomes problematic. You're not really dealing with the issue, you're just kind of making fun of yourself, and it's a bit stigmatizing. So I was just kind of interested in seeing those quotes. But yet again, I mean, they're nowhere close to the amount of quotes and sort of girl blogger things I see on TikTok or Instagram. With Pinterest, it's mostly about just collecting different pins, finding ideas, getting inspiration. So what I love to do is I like to collect all these pins. I like to make little collages out of them. Every year I have a collage of Pinterest pins, and they are of basically just kind of showing like what I want to achieve in that year, not materialistically, but how I want it to feel. And I think as a hobby girly, this this social media platform is a lot healthier because getting into my next thing, I feel like FOMO, so the fear of missing out, is so prevalent. TikTok and Instagram videos. I'm not talking about as much about Twitter because I don't really use Twitter, or it's called X. I'm never going to call it X. Like I'm so used to it being called Twitter. But I've noticed this a lot, and it's just a bunch of people basically girl blogging, but in the sense as well, like my life is better than yours. And I think a lot of people get that idea. And I mean, I'm not saying people are trying to be toxic just because they're trying to be toxic, like not at all, but I think a big point I'm getting at here is that there's always this concept in our head that has been developed from overusing social media that there's someone who's always doing better than us, and that we need to struggle and kind of wrap our heads around the idea that, maybe they're not doing better. Maybe this is all in our head. Oh my God. Maybe it's just an illusion, which most likely it is. I mean, you've probably seen all the videos debunking influencers and just people in general trying to make themselves be better than they are, when in reality, they're probably just living the same life as everyone else. So I don't know, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. It's That's also very possible. Let me know what you guys think, what anyone thinks, if they have a similar experience with social media. But I have seen myself more and more interested in going on Pinterest and being able to kind of like collect these little pins, categorize my life and my ideas. I mean, it's still social media, so obviously it's still going to be targeted. You're still going to get ads and things like that. But I feel like it's a lot better for my mental health, for my mental well-being, because it's not really about trying to constantly look at other people and compare myself. It's just creating a little, maybe maybe it's also not mentally healthy, but creating like a little different reality for myself on Pinterest and being like, oh, like look at this nice little quote, look at this travel place, etc. I think a big thing is also detachment. I've noticed that, with Instagram and TikTok, you see the people's faces and they kind of show you something that's been trending is this song called I Think I Like This Little Life, which is a great song, but I've noticed that so many people have started using it to show off their lives. And it's not usually just like romanticizing small things like making coffee or like going outside, taking a walk with your dog. It's usually romanticizing a very wealthy lifestyle that feels very elitist. So every time I see that song trending, every time I go on TikTok, I it's always like a video of someone's like villa in Italy. You're like, okay, of course you like your little life. Like, what are you talking about? So a lot of the times, it just feels a bit tone deaf. With Pinterest, you don't have that. You're quite detached emotionally because it's not usually people posting photos of themselves or what they're doing. It's just kind of like tiny little things. And I don't know if it's just a generational thing where I've noticed a lot of Gen Zers are starting to gravitate more towards Pinterest rather than TikTok. This is obviously not, I mean, I'm sure you can prove me wrong on this. I've just, all the people I talk to from Gen Z are more on Pinterest, but of course, that's my experience. That's my little circle. Also, I don't know, like I've always wanted to do things online. I've always wanted to have like a social media presence, but it never really worked out, mostly because I'm just completely inconsistent. But at the same time, I hate this constant faking of your life that I noticed with a lot of social media. I think it's getting better now. I think that a lot of people are becoming more aware and they're understanding that it's not all about showing off and you can be honest and you can talk about your struggles. But it just feels so wrong because, like, on social media, so many people monetize off of that, of being like real and relatable. And sometimes it's not a good relatable. Like I brought up with girl blogging, it's kind of a relatable. And like I've been watching a lot of skincare videos and I have like a dermatologist that are debunking all of these famous other dermatologists that are just spreading misinformation. You don't have that on Pinterest. You're just collecting little photos and just kind of making this sort of personality for yourself where it's not it's not as harmful, I would say, as Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. But of course, I do have some issues with the concept that you are creating, like I said, you are creating that fake personality for yourself. Like, this is who I want to be. And you have like quotes and like pictures and things like that. But at the same time, I mean, you're just creating this little happy place. And I know that I am always going to be somewhat chronically online. And I know that I'm not just going to be able to completely get rid of social media because I mean, I grew up on that. And I think most people my generation or like Generation Z or whatever, they've grown up with social media and creating this idea of yourself on social media. So it's going to be impossible to just completely get away from that. I don't really agree with the concept that because in a lot of people being like, do a social media cleanse, don't go on social media. I mean, obviously, this is not scientifically accurate, but it's the same thing as like trying to quit smoking. Like going cold turkey usually doesn't work because you're just going to binge again or like just binging in general. I feel like that's the same with social media. It's better just to do it slowly. Or like, for example, what I'm trying to do is just if I want to go on social media, like spend time on Pinterest because at least it makes me happy rather than going on Instagram and I look at everyone's photos and I'm like, damn, what am I doing with my life? But with Pinterest, it's not like that. It's like, wee, everything is happy and fluffy. But that is my interpretation of Pinterest. And so from now on, I am going to try to not use TikTok and Instagram as much. I mean, with Instagram, I've really limited it to just with friends, and I tried to get rid of as many people I don't know on it as I can. And so at least on Pinterest, I can just kind of scroll mindlessly, but with a better mental health outcome. So let me know what you think. This is a bit of a rant, but here we are. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to try to do more of this because I want to get my voice out there. I want to talk about stuff. Yeah. Anyways, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.